just curious, like what, just talking about the bear market plays and stuff. We talk about mining hex, but just people got a ton of, they got their SAC coins, but not a lot to do with them right now, at least natively and or third party, because a lot of the products, liquid loans, Power City hasn't launched yet, all that. Yeah, what do you do in a sideways market right now?
Of course, you can, if you're a bag, like if you're listening to this and you've just been sitting on your hands since Pulse launched and you're like a big wallet, you should be in the farms. You should at least be making your money work for you, like while you're sleeping. So you could be, you could be putting PulseX and Pulse against each other here, and it's a good time to do it from a TA perspective. So this is the PulseX chart, and obviously, if you're just looking at this for face value, it looks like you're down big, especially when you're comparing it to like PLS, which held up a lot better. So let me actually compare, not denominate this chart in dollars, but let's denominate it in PLS, and it tells you a really interesting story. So PLSX ratio to PLS, here is retraced the whole move. So the beginning of the year, when the thing launched in May, it just ripped off these lows. It went up 90, what is that? 100%. So this is a huge gap though. So now it's all the way back down here. Now up here, the ratio was for every one PLS you had, you could swap it for 2 PLSX. Well, now we're all the way down here. So now every 1 PLS you have, you can get 4 PLSX, and we're at the base. And so what you want to look for here is, like, if you were going to make money passively, now is the time to put in your PLSX and your PLS into these pools, because into this particular PLSX PLS pool, because as PLSX makes its resurgence and it makes a big green candle again, let's say like you wake up one morning and it's like up here, and it could happen. You're looking at converting some of that PLSX potentially into PLS at a better rate, and then you're making your PLS bag bigger on the back of PLSX's success while it's cheap. Not by swapping, but by providing liquidity. And so your PLSX that you put in down here on this pool will get converted into PLS automatically as this goes up. And at the same time, plus you're going to earn ink. So like on top of like the gain of PLS, if you really value your PLS bag, you're also going to get ink on top of it. And that's just free money that the token contract can print you for putting it in these farms, right? So that's one trade that I'm seeing and I'm eyeing up. It's a pretty basic one, and some of these other ones are a little more exotic, but there is opportunity out here, guys, to get 59, 60%, 50% APRs paid in ink, and an ink coin that's down really, really cheap, and it's like basically like an 80x back to all-time high. So like if you want to make free money and then potentially hold it, you could potentially realize a 6,900% return as ink tries to make its way back to all-time high over the bull market, and you're just getting that for free. So keep that in mind too. It's definitely a bigger trade there. You could at these levels, it's so far down, you could just market buy it too.
Ink is the one that like went up the most and went down the most, right? We had the most X's and then went down the most as well.
Yep, it did. Wasn't that crazy, man? Man, I'm telling you.
Feels like it's just yesterday. It was like you were making like ink was like $35, and the APR was just still nuts and hundreds of percent, and everything was just happy. Everything was good.
Yeah, well, and if you get user adoption, that reality can come back again. I think the first level to look at here is to here. So like the first bull market wave, you could expect ink to do like a nice 400% move, and then it might get choppy for a while, but like that's from here to there. That's 5x your money, right? And I think
is it better?
Yeah.
I was going to ask, is it better that the whales are more likely to have a lot of the ink supply since they'll be the ones earning the most of it? Is that good for price, or what? Like, what are the ups and downsides of that?
So there's a lot of whales, quote in quotes, that have made a lot of money on ink, and there's the whales that dump, and there's the whales that don't dump. So like the whales that dump this, they're giving all of that supply to the whales that don't dump. And so what that does is it consolidates the ink supply into fewer and fewer hands, and that's good. That's really good. So there's 19,651 addresses holding ink. And if you go in here, this one, the LP's got 32%. This LP's got 32%. So this means that the ink whales that are holding are farming more ink and consolidating it in the ink LPs, in the ink farms. So they're using their free money to hold it diamond handed and earn more free money and compounding it. And they're consolidating it all into fewer and fewer hands. And then like as far as like individual addresses that aren't farming, like this guy's got 3.4%. This guy's got 2.1%, 2%. And then after that, it gets pretty scarce. And I think that that's good. Really, I do. I think it's good that, you know, 20, this, like the average in here, like the average number in the top 100 is probably like between $20,000 and $30,000 of ink, which is like, for that to 4 or 5x in crypto is totally doable in terms of like supply that could suppress us. It's getting to levels now where like I'm comfortable saying that, you know, ink's getting primed for a rip, right? At some point.
Yeah, it's one of those that we talked about before. I think just that maybe a health indicator, but also like when it goes down, it goes down. Like it's one of those things that, hey, the first thing that gets dumped is the dump token. A lot of times we saw that tremendous rundown, but also it's one of the coins that, you know, there's no OA. There's only people who are earning it because they put up the risk. Like Sloth talked about monetizing risk, that sort of thing, which makes it very interesting, even outside the tokenomics. And it's within the ecosystem, and it's a native coin to the ecosystem. It's not a third party. So just the sentiment around it, I don't know. I'm kind of bullish on the sentiment of ink, if nothing else.
Yeah, nods to Sloth because he really changed the way I viewed ink too. He helped me. Well, he really made me realize the relationship of the transmutation of a PulseX buy and burn function getting converted into real value in the ink in terms of ink. Like, how did you word it before? Because that was really good. You said
monetizing risk is what Sloth's quote.
Risk. That's right. So that when he said when you're monetizing risk, that because these guys that are creating ink out of thin air, they're taking risk in the LP pools and they're getting paid ink back to it. So it's a way to like hedge. So like by them making a market, they're getting paid for their risk taking and making that market. Just said another way, and I think that was really a good insight.
He's got a big brain. From time to time, he tends to show it.